It's time for EdTech Mondays, brought to you by MasterCard Foundation and CC Hub.
Welcome to another amazing episode of the EdTech Mondays Nigeria show, where we discuss insightful conversations in the amazing world of educational technology in Nigeria. My name is Chinyelu Akpa, and this week we'll be continuing the very interesting conversation on digital wellness and resilience for learners and educators. Today, I'm excited to introduce our next guest, someone who plays a pivotal role in shaping educational experiences through technology. Our guest is an exceptional product manager going by the moniker Your Friendly PM. She is a tech speaker known for her significant contributions to the tech community in Nigeria, such as People in Products, Non-Tech in Tech, and She Code Africa. With over 5 years of experience, she has dedicated her time to creating interactive learning products for kids. She has honed her expertise in developing engaging games, simulations, and interactive animations for children aged 5 to 10, which has given her valuable insights into their cognitive abilities, preferences, and engagement patterns. She is currently the product and operations lead at eLimu, an EdTech startup focused on creating accessible educational games for curious kids in Africa. Join me today to welcome Bridget Iyere, your friendly PM.
Thank you, Chinyelu. I'm really excited to be here today
Thank
at the
you.
EdTech Monday show.
Your friendly PM. Why do we call you your friendly PM?
Because I'm friendly, I'm warm, and I'm sweet.
Okay, so we have our friendly PM with us, and she'll be delving into the world of product management and design of educational products, with the spotlight being on, digital wellness and resilience for curious kids in Africa. So understanding that, you work with curious kids, what does that mean? What do you do? What's your role in eLimu about? Because we've heard product operations lead, curious kids, EdTech company. Let's take it from there. Then we go right into the main conversation.
Okay, product and operations, that can be a lot, but I will just speak briefly about eLimu, what we do, and my role at eLimu. So at eLimu, we build fun educational games for kids, like you read, right? And we believe that learning should be exciting and enjoyable for kids. So we do this using a dynamic blend of interactive games, simulations, animations, and stories for these kids to learn new concepts. And our focus is helping kids to develop key skills to help them build their numeracy and literacy skills. We also believe that learning goes beyond the classroom. So how does these kids develop core skills that they can use to thrive outside the classroom? Mm-hmm. So skills like critical thinking, problem solving, and their creativity, so honing their creativity. So this brings us back to curious, because kids are naturally curious, right? So honing their creativity skills help them to, in terms of curiosity, build new things that can go on to solve problems in the world. So that's eLimu.
Okay, great. So, and as a product manager, where do you sit on top of all the activities that happen at eLimu?
So as a product manager, I manage everything that has to do with the product in terms of the idea, from the ideation phase down to design, testing with the users, ensuring that what we are building actually meets the needs of the user and solve the problem that we're trying to solve, then taking it down to the hands of the user in terms of after development or building these products, whether it's web apps or mobile apps, then taking it down to the hands of the user. So I sit as in the middle in terms of relating
between the developers and the end users.
Yes, so the cross-functional team. So I sit at the middle between all of the things happening in-house and the end users at the end of the day.
So now that we've set the pace and we understand where you are and why we felt you're a good guest on the show today, I'd like to ask how your organization has been able to incorporate digital wellness principles into your product to ensure that learners have a balanced and healthy interaction with technology. And this is very, very important conversation that we must have, because we are constantly nudging, our children, learners, educators alike to digital platforms for learning. So how are you balancing? I would always say that there's a very thin line, between addiction and so how do you ensure that you're not just tipping over? And I'm sure parents want to find out as well.
Yes, we're always thinking about that at the back of our mind whenever we are coming up with building a new product or a new game for these kids to interact with. So I will just highlight some of the things that we put into consideration. First off, we don't want to just load the learners with a lot of content. So we ensure that our content which the learners are interacting with are in bite-sized mode. And we do this in what we call levels. So when you're interacting with our content, whether the numeracy games or the literacy games, you don't just get it in a wholesome pack. It's broken down into levels. Some things are locked because we don't want learners to just jump in and they are lost in the wild, trying to navigate their way. So some things that also are locked for this learners, so they don't see everything at once. So they go at it piece by piece, bit by bit. And also, we ensure that parents are in control too, because based on COPPA law, that is Child Online Privacy and Protection Act, says kids under the age of 13, they are not supposed to create accounts or have emails, right?
Really? Sorry, can you take that again?
Okay, so the COPPA law, so Child Online Privacy Protection Act, says that children under the age of 13 are not supposed to have accounts without parental consent.
Wow.
So
any type of account?
Yes, under 13.
Wow.
You need parental consent. Because of course these are minors, right? So that is part of the things we put in consideration. So because of that, a child under that age, because we build for kids below 11, below 10, putting that into consideration, kids can just come onto a platform to create an account. A parent needs to create an account, then create profiles for this kids to interact with. So control still lies on the parent in terms of how this child should come on the app. And apart from that, we also provide parents with a dashboard where they can track activities for these kids. And we have a metric, where parents can also see how much time their kids are spending on the app. Okay. So they can say, okay, is my child spending too much time, right? Because the control still lies on the parents' hands, right? And also I was reading somewhere, American Academy of Pediatricians also said that in terms of screen time, right, there are different levels of screen time because screen time depends based on the age, developmental levels of the child. So not all child are supposed to be having the same level of screen time, right? And based on my research, it said if a child is below 18 months, right, they should not be having any form of screen time except, let's say, of course, here in Nigeria.
18 months?
Yeah, below 18 months. For instance, let's say, you give birth to babies, you want your family and friends to see the child. So they are saying the only form of screen time they should have is, okay, baby, you want to show FaceTime, just show the child. But when it goes to 18 months and to 24 months...
Oh my God. A lot of families are guilty. You just buy a tab, this child is disturbing me. No. And...
Yeah.
I remember Confidence, sorry to cutting in on you. Confidence, who was our guest last week, said she gave me the term, it is sharenting, where you're just sharing everything and pushing your children a little bit too early into the, I won't call it social media, but into the digital world. Then you're sharing so much. So first thing I have, and guys, if at this point you haven't whipped out your notepads and pens, I don't know what you're doing. First thing you said, there's a Child Online Privacy Protection Act that states that children below 13 should not be found online having their own profile. So there has to be parental guidance.
Consent,
Dear Nigerians, how many of your children below 13 have you given phones and are currently online having their own accounts? So they shouldn't even be on social media. How much more even accessing, even if they're learning products, it should be through maybe a teacher and or through a parent. So there should be a guardian component.
Yes.
And that guardian can then determine how long they are staying. You've been on this thing for too long. You can rest, take some time off. And I like what you said about levels, because before now, I never really thought about why we have levels. I just felt, I don't know, maybe they just felt like adding it. So it's now clear to see that these levels have been put as some sort of control. So you don't just stay there and play till infinity.
No.
Like, okay, Candy Crush has levels, right?
Yeah, it has levels. And you can't in Candy Crush, you can't proceed until you have completed a certain level. So it's not all open at once. So they help to also use that to control like what you're doing on the app.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, with the rise of digital learning, how does eLimu ensure its young users' data privacy and security? And what should parents and educators be aware of in this regard?
Okay, I have actually highlighted one of them, which is the bit about children below age 13 are not supposed to be on any app without parental consent. So that's one way we are ensuring data privacy or security for these kids, because we want to help these parents to understand that the safety of your kids is our priority and we are not doing anything without your consent. So they can see that no child can come on except the parental gives that room. And we have seen situations where we have kids that have their own email, right? Which is fine, because these email companies or services like your Gmail, your Yahoo Mail, they have something in place to ensure that kids below 13 or that are not adults yet, right, having an account, you can't create an account except an adult has one account, and if you create an account for that child, it's linked to the parent's email. So whatever the child is doing, whether signing up on stuff, the parents always get that nudge.
Yeah, and that's when they ask for your date of birth.
Yes.
So it's not just fun and games. There's a reason.
There's a reason for it. So the moment you put an age that is below 18, you can't create an account. So a parent needs to create, or an adult needs to create an account and link that child's account to the parent's account or that adult's account. So whatever the child is doing, using that email to do what not, signing up on stuff, the parent has control. It can also restrict and do all of those things. So it's important that parents know this. So for a situation you want to create an account, don't create an adult account for them. Create a child account, because it will be linked to yours and you can monitor and manage stuff, right? And that is one. And also, in terms of collecting data from our users, we also try to help them understand what this data are being used for. Because if you just, for instance, if you come and meet me and say, Bridget, I need your phone, I won't want to give you. I'm like, why do you want my phone? But if you come and meet me, oh, Bridget, we need your phone because we need to place a call to do this. It gives me like a good, legit reason. So for parents, we help them to understand, for instance, if we're collecting date of birth of their kids, we want to do this because we want to personalize the experience for these kids. Because kids learn in there are different developmental stages for kids, right? So in as much as we're building content for this wide range of kid age, which is 5 to 10, we have content that is specific to certain age group. So like a 5 to 6 to 6 to 8. So we're collecting that date of birth. It's helping us to personalize the learning experience. So always try to explain to our parents or our users, these are the reasons why we're collecting certain information. It's easier for them to release this information.
So do you let them know in-app, or you have to send them emails? How do you?
No, we let them know in-app. The moment you're providing this information, this is what it's going to be used for.
So I'd say that these are standards, that other people who are building for children or who are building for for children should take. You don't just take everything, your mother's maiden name, your father's name, your grandmother's streets, when you really do not have any need for it, right?
When you don't have any need, and you should be able to. So it's more like a guiding principle when you're creating apps, especially when you're dealing with humans. So it's not just parents or adults. Even you as a person, let's say, leave out the educational app, you want to know why you are giving certain information, right? So it's easier for users to, by themselves, release this information.
Okay. Yeah. So if parents do not feel comfortable about, perhaps they're on an app, an EdTech app, and is asking them for questions they don't feel comfortable, it's okay to not proceed.
Yes, so something also put into consideration, because you need to help parents, right? I'm also trying, because I'm a product person, I'm also trying to make it a bit wider in terms of not just EdTech products. Something you also need to understand, you have to help the user know that they're in control. Put control power in their hands. Users want to feel in control. So you notice that sometimes when you're onboarding into an app, like you're trying to go through like the first stages of the app, it asks you if you want to skip certain things. So we also provide them this opportunity. So those things that are not necessarily like needed or mandatory for the app to run, we'll tell you can provide it now, you can provide it later, or you can skip it.
Okay.
Right. So we can do that so they can skip.
But at some point, you can't skip it anymore. You have to provide.
That is the mandatory type,
okay.
right? If it's very mandatory, like email address, for instance, we need that because that's also a way for us to check that it's an adult creating an account.
Okay.
So we help them understand this is mandatory. You need this to be able to proceed. But certain information like your country, it can be optional. We're just helping you understand that, okay, we understand different countries have different preferences or needs. This is the reason why I collected your country. But if you don't want, it doesn't stop
you from
accessing.
Okay, great. This has been very wholesome conversation, Bridget, and you're sort of opening the Pandora's box on what happens in designing EdTech solutions and how much thought goes into ensuring that balance on digital wellness and resilience for learners. But thank you so much, Bridget, for the valuable insights you have shared. How can people follow you? Because I'm sure a lot of parents would want to hear from you, would want to know what to look out for when deciding, on trying certain EdTech product or even learning more about eLimu, which seems to be a rounded EdTech product.
Yes.
That is giving that balance for learners. So how can they find you?
Okay, so for my new followers, right, I mentioned I'm very friendly, I'm very sweet. You can follow me on LinkedIn at Bridget Iyeri. So you can follow me on X, Bridget, in brackets, your friendly PM. That's the one you should follow, right, on X. Then, of course, follow what we're doing at eLimu. So at eLimu_world on X, on LinkedIn, eLimu World. You can see a lot of those amazing products that we're building for kids, ensuring that kids' learning outcomes are being improved daily.
Thank you so much. And to you, our amazing listeners, I have one question. For parents who are listening, at what age did your children sign up for an online account anywhere? And you, the learners, the students listening, when did you open your first email account? What age were you? This is very interesting. I want parents to go out, look for that Child Online Privacy Protection Act and know what role you have to play on ensuring digital wellness and resilience for your learners. Would love to hear from you. Send us an SMS or a WhatsApp message on 0703 165 0805. We would love to hear from you. Do well also to follow us on social media. We are on Telegram, we're on WhatsApp. We have a very vibrant community, EdTech Mondays Nigeria, to continue this important conversation. Thank you once more for being on the show with us today, Bridget.
Thank you for having me, Chin.
And thank you, you amazing listeners. Till I come your way, same time next week, I remain your host, Chinyelu Akpa. It's bye for now.
EdTech Monday is proudly brought to you by MasterCard Foundation and CC Hub.